so the audience can hear. City Clerk, may we have a roll call, please? City Clerk, do you have any announcements for the City Council? I think I said that too quick.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I'll go through the roll call first, and then I do have a brief announcement. Councilmember Kendrick.
Here.
Councilmember Krupa.
Here.
Councilmember Lowenthal.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Peterson.
Here.
Mayor Males.
Here.
All members are present. Councilmember Kendrick is participating remotely. Mayor and City Council, we do have a request from Councilmember Kendrick to participate remotely under the Just Cause provisions of AB 361. Councilmember Kendrick is appearing remotely due to a need to provide caregiving to a grandchild as authorized by Section 54-953 of the Brown Act. It would be appropriate at this time for the council to consider and vote on a motion to approve of Councilmember Kendrick's request to participate remotely.
Council, can I have a vote for Member Kendrick's request to participate remotely under the Just Cause provision of AB 361?
I'll make the motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Did we ever adopt that?
So this was actually added to Section 54953 of the Brown Act. We don't have to adopt any policy or procedure in order to proceed forward with this one.
Okay, because I'm all in favor of it, but I know some of the other boards were back when where there was lots of conversation about whether to enact it, whether to adopt it, whether to not, whether to go back to the old time. You have to be wherever. I mean, it was a
The
crazy
legislature
thing.
is struggling with technology
No
right now.
kidding.
There are 3 ways to remotely teleconference into a meeting, some of which require affirmative action on behalf of the council to implement. This is not one of them.
Okay.
And with that, I'll do a roll call. Councilmember Krupa.
Yes.
Councilmember Lilienthal.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Peterson.
Yes.
Mayor Males.
Here. Or yes, I'm sorry.
That motion passes 4-0 to accept Councilmember Kendrick's request. I also have another note for the record. So thank you, Mayor and Council, for voting on that. We do have one other item we must enter into the record. Councilmember Kendrick, can you disclose if there's anyone else in the room with you over the age of 18? And if so, your relationship with that person?
There is no one in the room with me.
Okay, thank you. And that's all for the record.
Okay, thank you. At this time, members of the public may only comment on the closed session item. Please adhere to the following when addressing the council. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes or less. Comments should be directed to the council as a whole, not directed to individual council members. City Clerk, are there any registered speakers? Any registered speakers through Zoom?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll call out on the Zoom call. If there's anyone on the Zoom call that would like to speak, now is your time, and I'll give you just a few moments to raise your hand. Seeing none, Mayor, there's no public comment.
Okay, council will now proceed to closed sessions. Thank you for joining us. A report of closed session will occur after the deliberations. So we'll move on. What are we doing? Ready? Ready? Okay. Good evening. I would like to call the January 9th, 2024 regular city council meeting to order. I would like to point out that this meeting is being hosted through live stream on the city's website and by Zoom teleconference. I would like to remind council to have their microphones turned on and positioned so the audience can hear you. City Clerk, may we have roll call, please?
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Kendrick,
Here.
Councilmember Krupa,
Here.
Councilmember Lilienthal,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Peterson.
Here.
Mayor Males.
Here.
All members are present.
Thank you, sir. The invocation will be by Bob Beckett of the Dwelling Place Church, after which Mayor Pro Tem Peterson will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. Give them wisdom, give them guidance, and watch over them personally. And help us as we move into the new year with hope and direction. In Christ's name. Amen. Amen. Thank you, sir.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, ma'am. We will move to the city attorney's report from closed session. City attorney, can we get a report, please?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. There are no items to report out of closed session today.
Thank you, sir. Now, we will now move to communications from the public. There is a 3-minute per person time limit for all general public comments on non-public hearing items. All who wish to speak, including council members and staff, need to be recognized by the mayor before speaking. For those that wish to join by Zoom, you will be asked to raise your hand, and if you would like to speak, please state your name and item you are commenting on before speaking. Sir? Okay, can I have Cindy Lemke up, please?
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes.
My name is Cindy Lemke. I'm the Executive Director for the Hemet-San Jacinto Valley Chamber of Commerce. And 2024 is a new year. I want to make a presence at the at the council meetings once a month to show my dedication to City Council and how supportive you are to the chamber. The local businesses and the community appreciate it. And we couldn't accomplish half of what we do without you. So I thank you. Mark and the staff, you guys work so hard and we appreciate everything that you do. We always have a lot going on, and we recommend you guys checking out the chat every month. And I always force one into your hand when I see you. So I appreciate you reading that. But we are here for you. I appreciate the partnership, and I just wanted to say thank you and happy and prosperous 2024.
Thank you, Cindy. City Clerk, were there any electronic comments submitted to be read aloud?
No, Mayor, but I'll call it on the Zoom call. Now is the time to raise your hand. If there's anyone on the Zoom call that'd like to speak, we'll give you just a few moments to raise your hand. Seeing none, Mayor, there's no public comment.
Thank you, sir. Before we move on to presentations, I just want to tell everyone, Happy New Year, Happy 2024. We have our new chief of police in the background over here, the one with all the stars, General Chief Ariano. All right. Thank you. We will now move to presentations. Can we have Chief Ariano approach the dais to receive the proclamation, please? And if we can all stand and
Okay.
This is a proclamation from the city of Hemet on National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. Whereas the health and safety of the citizens of the city of Hemet is important to the happiness, prosperity, and well-being of our city's families and community. The city of Hemet is the proud home of dedicated police officers that put their lives on the line to keep our community safe. These officers stand as leaders educating the community about the importance of public safety, and the city of Hemet appreciates the extraordinary efforts and sacrifices made by officers and their family members on a daily basis in order to protect our schools, workplaces, roadways, and homes. And whereas National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day is an opportunity to show our support for law enforcement, now therefore, Joe Males, thank you, Mayor of the City of Hemet, along with the Hemet City Council, do hereby proclaim January 9, 2024 as National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. And we encourage the community to join in celebrating the men and women who serve the United States Hemet, the Hemet Police Department, and other law enforcement agencies. Presented to you, Chief, today. Thank you so much.
I just want to thank the council and the city for recognizing the department. I'm sure the guys and girls will appreciate it. And most of all, I thank our community. I can say all the years I've been working here with Hemet, there's been nothing but support from the community as a whole. So I really appreciate it. I know the guys and girls do. Thank you.
Okay. That's done, that's done. Next, we'll move on to the recognition of the City of Hemet Holiday Decorating Contest winners. Can we have first place winner Jonathan Arendt come up, please? Second place, Stacy B, please. Third place, Angelica Marmaleo. And for the commercial winner, Diana Hagee, please, or Hagee, something. Oh, Stacy B, please.
Okay, I'll just read one of these because they all read the same. Certificate of recognition presented to, this one's going to be to Jonathan, and this one is to okay, she's underneath this one. The Hemet City Council extends its warmest appreciation to your family for your contribution to the holiday cheer. Congratulations on your first and third place wins. Presented on the 9th day of January in the year 2024. And this is signed by Mayor Males and we council members. So thank you for participating and beautifying the city and adding extra cheer to our city. Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, she wants a picture. Thank you.
Okay, and lastly, we will move on to the presentation recap of the 2023 City of Hemet Annual Christmas Parade and recognize the following organizations: Hemet Unified School District, Expanded Learning Opportunities Program and Safe Zone, Hemet Unified School District Transportation, the Church of Jesus of Latter-day Saints, City of Hemet City Staff, Western Science Academy, Rancho Viejo Middle School Band, and West Valley High School JROTC. And I believe we're going to have a video presentation. So why are you looking at me? So what's that?
Nice. How's everything? Totally.
And if we can have all the emphases that we called earlier, Hemet Unified School District Transportation, Hemet Unified School District Expanded Learning Opportunities Program and Safe Zone, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, City of Hemet, City Staff, Western Science Academy, Rancho, I bet I'm not on, huh? Rancho Viejo Middle Band, School Band, and West Valley High School JROTC. If you can all come up, please, and receive your plaques, we'd appreciate it.
Okay, I have one for Hemet Unified School District Transportation. There you are. Thank you. Congratulations.
There's some staff that are actually present.
ROTC, how did I get? Great. Oh, I see 'em.
Oh, Jessica made it too.
Come on up. You shine.
Go high. Go high. Don't do that. I have one for Rancho Viejo.
Yeah.
I know.
That's called video.
Hey, the big guy, the two big guys in the front, get in the back. Oh, my God. All right. Congratulations, everyone. Congratulations. Now get out of my counter. How I know, get out of here.
A hearing aid.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe quickly, like while everybody's.
All my siblings.
All right.
Now they're gonna clear up, that's good.
I'll make sure I'll get over there. I'll make sure I'll get over to see that.
Yeah, I can get over there. Friday afternoon, I think they do the concert Friday night, so she.
Right.
Good.
Good.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, take care.
Yeah, I might have to call you back. I'm in a council member now. I'm in a council meeting right now. I gotta call you back. Okay, bye.
This is a crazy meeting. Well, there's my pen I was looking for.
Ah,
I have a contact. He's gonna leave his contact for me. So I can,
Linda Krupa, council member, please take your seat. Thank you.
Perry.
All right.
Whenever I
Okay,
set
this
that
one
up.
get-
Yeah, that's a great.
All right, we're gonna continue the meeting. Next, we'll move on to receive and file. Are there any questions from the city council on these items? If not, we will receive and file the warrant registers, quarterly grant report, and budget adjustments.
Mayor, I have one item I would like to add, just a comment. On item 13B, there is one grant that we had at a special meeting in December that started a couple of minutes before that meeting. It's the SB 1383 Local Assistance Grant that we applied for in the amount of $166,510.
Thank you, sir. I thought that was gonna get added on there. It did get added,
It's,
correct?
it's added to one version that wasn't distributed, so I want to
Oh,
read it
okay.
into the record
Okay,
for you.
perfect. Thank you. Anyone else?
No.
Okay, can I get
We just filed it.
just file it? That's it? All right. We will receive and file. Okay, let's move on to the consent calendar. All consent calendar items will be acted upon simultaneously unless requested by an individual council member for separate consideration. Are there any members of the council that would like to pull any consent items for separate consideration?
Mayor, I'd like to pull 14E and 14F.
Okay, what, 14,
E is in Edward, F is in Frank.
thank you.
And I would like to pull 14G.
G?
And I would like to pull 14C. Oh, I'm sorry. 14D, correction, 14D.
That was 14B?
D is in dog.
Oh, D as in dog, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with 14. I actually are there. I like to have a motion to approve the remainders.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
City clerk.
So which ones are we approving?
We're approving the consent calendar with the removal of items D, E, F, and G for separate consideration.
There was a C, 14C?
No.
No, okay. So
D,
D is the
E,
first
F,
one.
and G.
So let's go with 14D, please.
And I want to just go for the roll call, Mayor, if I may.
Oh, yeah.
I have
go ahead.
Councilmember Kendrick, motion, second by Councilmember Lilienthal. Because we do have a member who's participating remotely, we will do roll call votes. Councilmember Kendrick,
Yes.
Councilmember Krupa,
Yes.
Councilmember Lilienthal,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Peterson,
Yes.
Mayor Males.
Yes.
That motion passes to approve the consent calendar. And then we'll start with item D.
Okay, thank you. Let's start with 14D, please. That would be you, Jackie.
With D?
D as in dog or Delta.
Okay, so I would like to keep these proclamations at a minimum. I feel that if you get too many of them, they lose their effect. And in particular, the month of November, we have 3 military proclamations. I would like to see those combined into one proclamation and recognize the military family, Veterans Day, and the USMC birthday, all in one proclamation, and give 3 proclamations to each of those entities. And that would save so much time. And we've already got 6 on there and other things pop up. So we could, like last year, I think we had about 8 on that day. And it was like really long. So if you could agree to that, we could combine 3 into one, and we would still have 4 proclamations that day.
You could also combine the 2 health ones as well.
I'm not as worried about those, but we could. But then if you do that, there's other ones up above that that are like that they have like similar subject.
I
I agree that if you give proclamations to everybody, nobody gets one. I mean, nobody appreciates one. Everybody gets one. And quite frankly, several cities in Riverside County have stopped giving proclamations altogether because they were running into the same thing we're running into, is that you can do a proclamation for every day of the week. And so I think we need to narrow it down to what this community considers maybe really important, or even go back to the old process that if one is requested, it is given. If not, it's not, and not recognize everything. Just a thought process.
I think we should also get rid of Women's History Month too.
I think get rid of a lot of them. I mean, we've got Asian Pacific Day on here, but we don't have Southern South America Day, or we don't have Mid Africa Day, or, I mean, it really gets to the point of almost absurdity. And we appreciate everybody and everything they do, but, and this is going to sound really crass, does everything deserve a proclamation?
So you guys okay with not ever doing them again unless asked?
I would be for that. I never thought about that before.
Say that again?
Just only doing them when people
On
request.
request. We used
Well,
to
no,
do
no,
maybe
because when
10 a year.
people will be requesting and you're going to be denying all the time. 'Cause
Council,
I've seen how that works.
I would like to weigh in on and provide some context. So the reason for the list that we're approving annually is different groups would request their proclamations ahead of time. This allows us to provide those proclamations at a date where, let's say Labor Day weekend, and a certain group that you wanted to give a proclamation, you were able to give that proclamation to that group because you're approving the list ahead of time. And that was essentially the issue that we were running into in the past. And so
So it doesn't mean that you're going to do them.
we approve the list for the year, and then, we provide them at each council meeting, but you can consolidate this list. You can strike through different items, but the whole goal was to make us more efficient in trying to provide the proclamations ahead of time for the events.
I'm okay with most of the months. It's just that we already have 6 for November and 3 of them are military related. And I just think we could easily combine those.
Well, you have 16 Marines in the Hemet Police Department, and they celebrate the Marine Corps birthday every year. I participated in that. And I don't think they would appreciate not getting a proclamation.
They will get one. It'll just be combined.
We could draft some language up to combine the three proclamations into one, recognizing each individual group.
I'm just asking for like that we would recognize those three groups in one, we could do it in one citation, one proclamation.
Right.
And give one of those certificates to each of them because it's all military related.
Someone's jealous because they don't have the Navy birthday on here. That's all.
We can consolidate those three if you'd like.
I'll leave it up to you guys.
So have all of these been requested for the next year already?
No, not specifically. This is a list that we've taken from the past year and the years prior. This is what we've consolidated this list to be.
Because we came up with this when Carly was mayor.
Right.
And the reason we came up with it was just how he said, but all she's asking is to combine the three into one so that we don't have 6 on November. Instead, we'll just have 2,
We'd have 3.
3.
We'd have 4. We'd have 4 instead of 6.
Too
Yeah.
much time
Yes,
spent
you're right.
talking about this year.
But you know,
Because other things pop up and then we
Check-
want to add
check
something.
with him to see why he's apprehensive about it.
Well, okay, I love you Marine police officers. I love all Marines, okay?
No, she doesn't.
Okay, so I know the Marine Corps has always made a bigger deal out of their birthday than any of the other services. We have 6 services now. I love that there's so many people that are safety providers, firemen, policemen, whoever, that are former military. I'm former military, okay? And I mean, I support everybody. But, okay, so they celebrate the Marine Corps. So we can celebrate it in a smaller way by combining it into one proclamation.
You don't make the Marine Corps birthday small. I mean, come on.
Oh, okay.
I'll tell you what, combine Veterans Day and Military Family Appreciation Day and leave USMC birthday alone.
I disagree.
Well, you have that
Now
right.
you guys are at an impasse. What are you gonna do?
I'll get you her license plate later.
It's
Well, if you want to make a motion, go ahead and make a motion and let's see where it goes.
Okay. I make a motion that we combine Military Family Appreciation Month, USMC it'll be 250th birthday this year, and Veterans Day into one proclamation. And give that proclamation to each of those 3 entities. That is my motion.
I have a second. Do I have a second?
And approve the rest of the list?
Yes,
And do what? What
I'm
was it?
good with that. I'll second it.
What'd you say?
and approve the rest of the list. So we would have 4.
But if they're not requested, don't give them.
Get a vote?
Do a roll call. A motion by Mayor Pro Tem Peterson, second by Councilmember Krupa. Councilmember Kendrick,
Yes.
Councilmember Krupa,
Yes.
Councilmember Lilienthal,
yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Peterson,
Yes.
Mayor Males.
No.
That motion passes 4-1. Mayor Males voting no.
Okay, so let's move on to
E.
14E.
Yes, Mayor, I had a couple questions on page 238 and 243. They're the Southern California Edison grant of easement documents, and they're referencing the district as Menifee. And I just wanted to clarify if that is actually correct or if the documents need to be updated.
You ready for me, Mayor?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Noah.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
so this is a Southern California Edison document. And we are served from their regional Menifee district office, and I'm pretty sure that this is just their district. It doesn't mean it's anybody else's district. We are in Southern California Edison's Menifee district. That's my understanding. I did look back at some previous easements that we've granted SCE in the past, and they had the same Menifee district on those documents as well.
That's
With-
legal understanding as well.
With that, I'll make a recommendation to approve item 14E.
I'll second that.
I have a motion by Councilmember Kendrick, second by Councilmember Krupa. Roll call. Councilmember Kendrick,
Yes.
Councilmember Krupa,
Yes.
Councilmember Lilienthal,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Peterson,
Yes.
Mayor Mills.
Yes.
That motion passes 5-0.
And if the council wants, we can ask Edison to rename the district, the Hemet District, if that would make you guys,
Yeah, see if they do it.
we'll pass that along.
Okay, let's move to 14F.
Thank you, Mayor. I have two questions on this. So for on page 268 through 271, I'm just wondering why the resolution is not a 2024. And on page 290, the code expired on December 31st. So those are my two comments on that item.
Councilor, and staff, I'm looking at the staff report that was printed. It's a 2024. Is that correct? Am I missing? I mean, I'm looking at the link with the resolution. I know that got updated by our management analyst on January 5th. So I'm just trying to get some clarification on here.
Councilmember Kendrick, can you identify where you see 2023 on the reso? It looks like 2024 on the backup that we have.
Let's see, I'm getting to that. Okay, it is updated, so I apologize for that. So then I guess my only comment is on the expired quote.
Got it. We will look at that. Usually we're working with our vendors and with it being the new year and with everything going through, basically we're confirming that that quote's still going to be valid. And so if it's not valid, then would have to come back and present it before council. But we're pretty confident that this will remain going through. We've had a long relationship with this vendor, and this is in addition to other quotes that we've gotten or other purchases that we've made from them. But we can certainly update it to just make sure that it matches with the auditor and all of the financials.
Okay, yeah, and it's just because in other jurisdictions, I've been burned by expired quotes, so it's something that I pay particular attention to. So I appreciate that. And with that, I would make a recommendation to approve item 14F.
Second.
A motion by Councilmember Kendrick, second by Councilmember Krupa. We're going to do a roll call. Councilmember Kendrick,
Yes.
Councilmember Krupa,
Yes.
Councilmember Lilienthal,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Peterson,
Yes.
Mayor Mills.
Yes.
That motion passes 5-0.
Okay, moving on to 14G.
Yes. That is mine. I have a very simple question. I'm looking at the grant deed and the location, and I don't assume. So tell me what happened here that was wrong back in 2012, and exactly how much of a dedication is this And how did it happen? You weren't here.
Well, from what I can gather, it was, I guess the property was owned by the redevelopment agency, and when it was dissolved, this grant deed, the city would have been the successor agency, and so this quitclaim deed should have had the successor agency granting rather than the dissolved agency that is no longer.
And the location of this is over on Costin and Stetson, and
It's Fire
given
Station 4 property right next to it. Yes,
next to it, but it's not Fire Station 4.
it includes Fire Station 4.
Aha.
Yes.
Okay. And what part of this does the flood control have?
There's a channel that runs an easement on the north side there of the property that flood control has.
But in reality, it changes nothing that we are doing or will do going forward in the future.
This allows the cities did the EMWD land swap, which is a little portion of this lot. And so during escrow, title came up with this needing to be corrected before we could move forward.
That's what I wanted to hear.
Title pointed
Thank
out
you.
that the redevelopment agency ceased to exist on January 10th and that the resolution was
Right.
approved on January 12th. And so it should have been from the city acting as the successor agency to the redevelopment agency, not the redevelopment agency. My assumption was, look, 2012 and the wind down of the RDAs was kind of a wild time. I think they were
Nobody
just-
knew what was going on at that point, and DOF in Sacramento had no idea. So they just said, do whatever you think you're supposed to be doing with
So I
this.
think they were just using the forms they had at the time, and it was just a small oversight back in 2012, and it didn't matter because the city continued to use it. But now that the city's trying to convey it as part of this land swap, title pointed out that we had to correct the deed.
So it just cleans everything up. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. Appreciate that. And with that, there's not any other questions. I will move approval of 14G.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Krupa, second by Mayor Pro Tem Peterson. Councilmember Kendrick,
Yes.
Councilmember Krupa,
Yes.
Councilmember Lilienthal,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Peterson,
Yes.
Mayor Mills.
Yes.
That motion passes 5-0.
Okay, let's move on to discussion action items. Our first discussion item is 15A. Can we get a staff report? Who's giving that one?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is my staff report. Annually, we requested the council provide direction and possible appointment of the City of Hemet City Council members to existing outside boards, committees, and commissions. And what we've provided in the staff report are what the council has selected in the past in the years of 22 and 23. And we do this annually. We also take this to council anytime there is a vacancy, and we do have those updates also included in this report mentioned previously in the past years. And so without further ado, I'll bring it back to the council. We can go either line by line, or if you have updates, I can make those updates to the list, and then we can move forward from there. That's my brief staff report, Mayor and Council.
I do have changes here, that we want to work with. On the Investment Oversight Committee, I want to change that to Kendrick. Peterson Kendrick. And the Planning Commission, we're removing Krupa and putting Males on, so it'll be Males and Kendrick. Strategic Plan Update Ad Hoc Committee will be, we're removing males. Okay, well, it's gonna be Kendrick and Lilienthal. Homeless Outreach Ad Hoc is gonna be changed from males Lilienthal to males Peterson. CDBG Ad Hoc Committee will be changed from Peterson Kendrick to Lilienthal Kendrick. And that's all the changes. Oh, is it still on there?
Yeah, it's on there for historical information, but we'll strike through that.
Do we need the skate park?
Yes.
We'll have lighting on that, so
We have to abandon that next year until our second skate park is built.
we'll have one more.
You mean our third one?
Right.
On the League of California Cities, year on community services, right? Not public safety.
Yeah.
And I am on governance, something in labor relations. And Carol, weren't you appointed to something on League?
Yes, I'm housing, community and economic development.
And Malcolm is also on SCAG's Transportation Commission Policy Committee.
You don't even meet though, do you? Oh, you do meet? Okay. Are you good with staying on CPI, with Joint Powers Insurance Authority Board, or
Yeah, I didn't know I was on there, but so long as
I'm gonna, I'm gonna go ahead and put Kendrick on that one?
I don't care.
Okay, so we're gonna also change California Joint Powers Insurance Authority Board from, Peterson Krupa to Peterson Kendrick.
She did. That's good. So should Carol be primary? You'll be primary. Okay. City Clerk, you may have an answer for this on RCHCA, the Western Riverside. No, not that one. Not RCA, RCHCA. Where is it? There it is. Should there be an alternate on that? The Riverside County Habitat Conservation Agency, RCHCA. We've always had an alternate.
We can put an alternate.
Not on the county ones. I think those county commissions, we all have, they all have alternates. Airport is a whole different, I am an alternate. Yeah, I'm an alternate appointed by the county.
I'd be interested in the RCHCA alternate.
I think you're primary.
Am I? Well, I'm primary on the RCA. Is it?
Yeah, you're primary RCA, and I thought, oh no.
It has,
CHCA?
I'm sorry. Jackie is primary on RCHCA.
You want to add an alternate there? We can add an alternate. All right, we'll put Kendrick on there.
Yeah, it would make sense to have Carol on there.
Hey, Mayor, I think we're
That's-
good.
Yeah,
Yep.
that should do it. Okay, so, thank you for your comments, Council. Can I get a motion to pass 15A?
I'll make a
With-
motion to approve 15A.
Second.
Second? Who seconded? Malcolm? All right, City Clerk, may we get a roll call?
Councilmember Kendrick,
Yes.
Councilmember Krupa,
Yes.
Councilmember Lilienthal,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Peterson,
Yes.
Mayor Males.
Yes.
That motion passes 5-0 to make the adjustments to the 2024 list.
Okay, let's move on to 15B. Staff report, please.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, Noah Rao, Public Works Director, here to present this item. This item supports the strategic plan goals to improve quality of life, partnership and collaboration, organizational effectiveness, and community engagement. All right, I'll start with a little overview of the Brubaker baseball facility. It has 9 fields to be included in a license agreement. I'll note that there is a 10th that's located in the main park rectangle, and that'll remain a city-maintained first come, first serve field. Of the 9 fields in the complex, there are 2 small T-ball size fields, 6 that are typically for the ages of 7 through 12, and then 1 that's 13 and older size. The building located in the complex is approximately 3,600 square feet and includes restrooms, a kitchen and concession area, equipment storage, a meeting room, and then also an outdoor patio eating area. So back in March 2022, the council allocated some ARPA funding to do some capital improvements at the facility. So field renovations was the first project that was completed. City hired a contractor to complete that list of renovations on each field. That work was completed in May and June of this past 2023. The next project that is in progress is sports lighting for 2 fields. And those will be the fields on either side of the concession building. This project is currently in design with an electrical engineer and will be going out to bid as soon as that's complete. The CIP funding that remains after the lighting will be put towards some updates in the building and or maintenance of the parking lot, but the intent is going to be to coordinate this with the new facility operator. A little background on how we got here tonight. So the fields were installed somewhere in like the 1997 range. Since they were installed, we had an operator. It was Hemet Youth Baseball and Softball, and that license agreement was terminated in 2021. So then in early 2022, a request for proposal was issued to find a new operator, but received no responses, no responsive submittals. And then in March of 2023, a request for qualifications was issued for a new operator and no responses were received. However, a bit after this attempt and over the summer and fall 2023, the city received several interested parties reach out. All of these interested parties were provided the most recent request for qualifications to use in making a submittal for consideration. All these submittals were then evaluated by a committee and a selection was made to recommend a license agreement to a new Little League within District 28. So staff's recommendation this evening is to partner with District 28 Little League to bring a new quality baseball program to the Valley and get the facility back to work. This partnership will help build community and memories for families in not only Hemet, but the whole valley. So with the council's approval of a partnership with Little League, I'm told the logo there on the bottom right will be added to the District 28 logo above it. So its staff's recommendation is shown here to adopt a resolution awarding a license agreement for the Brubaker Park baseball complex to a Hemet Little League, as it will be approved in final form by the city attorney. And that concludes my presentation. I do have Richard Pacino from District 28, the administrator here. If you'd like, I'd like to have him come up and introduce himself, and you can ask him any questions that you may have as well.
How long is that contract going to be for?
We've got it in as an initial 5 years with then if they ask to renew it at a certain time, then it could be extended for another 5 years.
Good evening. I'm Richard Pacino. I'm the district administrator for District 28. As Noah said, we currently have 7 leagues in our district. We're looking to make Hemet the 8th. So hopefully you guys will take that into consideration. And if you have any questions, let me know.
Where are you playing out of now? What fields do you have?
Right now, I have 7 leagues, or our district has 7 leagues: Temecula, Marietta, Lake Elsinore, Canyon Lake, Menifee, Temescal Valley, and Wildomar.
And will they be interplaying?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Everybody in our district, all the leagues in our district have been notified of the intent of us to come to Hemet, and they are all in to help us out, as well as, other districts in our western states. Little League Internationals, the backing has been fantastic from them.
Age group is from what to what?
Age group is from 3.5 to 16.
And high school after that. Right?
And then, yeah. Any more questions?
Yep. Will this include children from the entire valley?
Yes.
As in San Jacinto and unincorporated?
It'll be Hemet and San Jacinto.
Okay.
The only draw line is Winchester. So Winchester goes into the Menifee area. Menifee technically right now has this whole area up over the mountains. I've already discussed it with them. We're going to be cutting that in half, and they're gonna go Winchester west, and then everything this way will be the Hemet Little League area.
Could be inclusive of Idlewild also?
I believe it is. I have to double check the map, but I believe it is.
Okay. I mean, they're part of the school district, so
Yeah.
sometimes nice to include them.
I know it's the map itself is kind of weird, and it goes all the way up over the mountain and into almost to where the 111 is, I believe. So there's a lot of areas out there.
Okay, thank
It's a
you.
little far, but no more questions?
No, I read through it rather thoroughly, and it looks like you have a stellar record and a very good reputation. And I think this is another great thing that we can bring to Hemet for our youth. So
Absolutely, that's the intent. The intent is to bring something to the community that, and Little League International and Little League programs themselves are community-based. So we don't turn any kids away. That's the motto. So we'll make it work some way, somehow.
Great.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. Can we?
Mayor, can I
Yes.
just ask a question? Noah, can you put the slide of the park up again?
IT can do it.
Can you point out which fields are Brubaker, which are city, and which are West Valley?
Sure. So the ones on the far right that you see, those are West Valley. Those two over there, and then on the ones on the very top are also West Valley. So there's where the rectangle of the actual Brubaker Park is, kind of that line there is where, and I've got a orange line kind of that encompasses the 9 fields that would be included in the license agreement.
Left.
The one that's part of the rectangle of the park is going to remain a city maintained first come, first served field.
Thank you.
Okay. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
A second?
I'll second it.
City Clerk?
Thank you, Mayor. Motion by Councilmember Lilienthal, second by Mayor Pro Tem Peterson. We'll do a roll call. Councilmember Kendrick,
Yes.
Councilmember Krupa,
Yes.
Councilmember Lilienthal,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Peterson,
Yes.
Mayor Males.
Yes.
That motion passes 5-0.
Okay, let's move on to 15C. Can I get a staff report, please?
Thank you, Mayor. Tonight, we're going to provide a quarterly update on the city's strategic plan action items. And I'm going to have some assistance with the city clerk driving here. I'm going to walk through, just as we did in Q1, I'm going to walk through and highlight a few different items. The status update for each of these is contained in the far right column. And so what you're seeing today, right now on that screen, is just a portion of the large spreadsheet. Just a couple of comments under our quality of life and beautification update. With respect to the pavement rehabilitation project, we have a project that is anticipating going to construction here at the end of the month. That's not to be confused with the additional project that will be in the neighborhood of $5 million, possibly larger, that will be going to construction mid-year, closer to the middle of the June-July timeframe. Secondly, probably the most notable accomplishment over the last quarter is the opening of the skate park, the skate plaza. What a fabulous project and such a benefit to the community. The council has been part of dedication to that, and we see a lot of usage of that park. We were unsuccessful at pursuing the grant for lighting, and so we're going to proceed with bringing forward a lighting solution that's already designed. That will extend the useful hours of that park until approximately 10 p.m. Once those lights are installed. We've had 2 community bulky item drop-offs, and I do want to note that the next one is scheduled for February 17th. So we'll continue those. And then we scroll on to the next page for the remainder of this section, just a couple of additional items. We did submit a very significant outdoor equity grant application in December that would lead to more than 1,400 trips for our youth in town. We don't have feedback yet on that grant, but this is something we pursued last year and went after even more aggressively this year. So we're hopeful that that will turn out to be a positive outcome. We have inspected 46 businesses working down Florida. This is item 12 on the list. And finally on item 14, 2 more items. On item 14, the bid package for the Auto Mall is anticipated to be completed at the end of January, which means we'll be proceeding to construction after award of contract. And finally, with respect to the final item under this section, consider options for soccer field expansion. We've identified a location for future soccer investment, which is at the Diamond Valley Lake location. There are 8 conceptual fields. The streets are in. It's literally a matter of designing and funding the construction and working with Valleywide and also Metropolitan Water. And so that will be the next phase of this effort, and we'll continue to report out on developments related to that. Let me pause there and see if you have any questions on any of the first 16 items.
I'm interested in the soccer fields. Are we looking at grants for that?
I think we have a plan A and a plan B right now. And I think plan A is going to be a funding request through potentially Representative Ruiz's office to secure funding that would conceptually fund all 8 fields. And so we've had some preliminary discussions with representatives of his office as well as representatives of Valleywide. And the initial feedback is positive. And so we're hopeful that by assembling a request, this might turn out to be a positive step in toward construction of some or all of those fields that are conceptualized. I think the plan B would be some form of a long-term financing strategy. And we will hold that back and pending the outcome of some of these initial discussions.
Thank you. Anyone else?
We're going to move on to the economic opportunity section. We have 5 items here. I do want to mention that sometimes this is not a sprint, but a marathon a bit. This is a good example of that. A lot of the items here are items that were anticipated to be launched after we were able to hire an economic development manager. We've gone through an initial recruitment, did not make an offer to a candidate, and we went through a second round of interviews and recently made an offer, and I'm proud to let you know that that person accepted today. And so we'll be moving forward in processing their onboarding. Also want to note that with item 2 on the list, the hotel investment program, the mayor asked me to commit to the second meeting in January for this, and so I did. And we are going to be back to the council at the next meeting on January 30th with the outline, the framework for a potential hotel investment program that would be intended to seek a rehabilitation of any existing hotels. All of the hotels would be eligible for the opportunity to participate in a rehabilitation of significant scale for their product, or an opportunity to potentially sell their property for a different use down the road, or and thirdly, the potential rebuilding of a former prominent hotel in downtown Hemet. So we'll talk to you more about those details on January 30th, but hopeful that it may lead to some additional investment in town. The real glue to this section is going to be the development of the economic strategy. And while we can conceptually build probably half of that today, and a couple of the items that we've already deployed as part of our work plan will be folded under this. So think about the facade improvement program, the trash enclosure pilot program, this hotel investment program are good examples of that, but there are going to be additional ideas that we will incorporate into this economic development strategy that is developed later in the year. So let me pause and answer any questions you have on these topics. Okay, so we'll move on to community engagement. 11 items under this section. Want to note on row 7, the legislative platform you adopted, and I think I spotted a text message or an email today about a bill. So we'll be working on that tomorrow, but this is a good example of how we'll be able to deploy that, the work that went into that program. And you recently at your last meeting approved the community services coordinator position. And tonight we set the salary in accordance with CalPERS regulations. So thank you for your action on that. And then finally, just a quick note that we updated the C-Click Fix app to include a category for aggressive solicitation. So on the drop-down list, whether you're on a computer or whether you're on the phone, there's now an option for aggressive solicitation. If anyone spots that around town, they can tap that. It will be routed to the appropriate person that will then engage on behalf of our police department, essentially. So happy to answer any questions on this section.
So what you just mentioned, like this evening, I saw a person with a sign panhandling on Sanderson and Florida. So if we report that, how soon? I mean, that person could be gone in like 5, 10, 15, whatever.
Typically the people that will attempt to panhandle will probably try it again in the same location. And so it's helpful for us to receive feedback on where that's happening. People are also welcome to call the non-emergency line at the police department and report that. Our officers also will engage when they spot situations like that. And so we would recommend other alternatives in addition to SeeClickFix.
Thank you.
Okay, the next section is next section is partnering and collaboration. So a couple items on the first section here with the Simpson Memorial Center. So we have a contract for the elevator modernization that was awarded to the council in October. Unfortunately, there are parts that are on order, and that won't be completed until we anticipate about May. So the elevator will not be available to work until that time. We did recently complete interior painting in November, and carpet was installed in December. And last week we launched the RFP for this. This will be open until February 15th. And so that's live on the city's website now. And we're hopeful we'll be able to have an operator on board not too long after the February 15th deadline. On row 3 here, the Brubaker Park improvements, you approved that tonight, so thank you for your action moving forward there. That will be another opportunity to activate parts of our town. In terms of our business walks on row 5, we've continued those through November. We did take the month of December off so everyone could go shopping. We'll be back in January at the end of the month for a continuation of those. And we're grateful for the opportunity to partner with the chamber on that. Let me pause and see if you have any questions on any other items on that list. Okay, so we'll move on to organizational effectiveness. This is a large section. But a couple of comments on our tree trimming. We're essentially on pace, probably a couple trees short, but we've trimmed almost 500 trees this year. And that's row 1. On row 4, we are unfortunately unable to implement the shift change, which would have led to some overlapping schedules and an ability to deploy more officers on patrol, particularly in the Florida corridor and other commercial corridors. This is due to the fact that today we have 15 sworn vacancies in the police department. So we've been only able to bring on 1 officer through the incentive program. We recently lost our police chief. That's in addition to other vacancies. And so we have a big need on trying to grow the number of sworn officers. And we're hopeful that before the next shift change in May, we'll be able to bring on board enough to where we can deploy that change in our patrol staffing. But happy to talk more about that item. I mentioned to you that we have recruited an economic development manager. We can move that row number 5 to a complete tonight as a result of the acceptance of our offer. And with, if you look to the next page, beginning on number 11 here, we have a number of information technology items. These are going to be moving quite rapidly over the next 3 to 6 months. And so you'll see a lot of these come back as complete before the end of the fiscal year, which is our goal is to identify these as 12-month initiatives. We're hopeful to get them done as early as possible, but these are sequenced. Some of these are depending on are dependent on the sequencing of other activities. So we've broken through the initial round of some of the hardware investments, and now we're beginning to see the additional items deploy. And I don't have any other comments for this section unless you have questions.
I have a comment. I'm just on the, where to go? Manager. Oh, number 4, on implement new Hemet Police Patrol scheduling and staffing. Ever since I've been a council member, we've had problems with staffing. We got an incentive program with 60,000 for lateral moves, and that doesn't seem to help. I think I was told that we're going to go outside Riverside and San Bernardino County and try LA and see if we can bring people in from there. But why can't we, this probably would go to you, Chief, but why can't we bring in a security company and have them with, maybe on foot patrols or something, with a police officer, a security guard, and a police officer, a security guard, and have them work together and figure, just to fill the void until we get new police officers. I mean, there's got to be something we can do. We got to think outside the box. I just don't know what else to do other than something, with that, to that respect. So.
Right. No, I get what you're saying. My response to that is security doesn't have the same powers as a police officer does. So it's kind of, security can only do what security does, especially if we're going to attach them to a police officer, like you're saying. It's almost now we have to watch out for this other person while the police officer is trying to do their job. We're doing great right now. We're fine. We're moving forward. We're hiring, we're recruiting, as best we can. And this is an issue across the nation. This isn't just specific to Hemet.
I know it is.
Everyone's having these issues. We do have 2 laterals that are on board that I'll probably be having chiefs interviews with next week or the week after. So that's great. And usually those laterals, that means someone that's already a police officer at another agency. So we expect them to get through the training program within 2 months. So we're moving forward. We're not stopping. It's just whenever we had Chief retire and Lieutenant Reinbold, we get up to 77. Now we're back to 75. That number is just like a magic number that we seem to hover over. So, but we have other options that we're going to be hitting the Marine Corps base, Camp Pendleton. We're going to be going to Fort Irwin. So we're setting all that up. We're trying to do a bunch of different things, thinking out of the box on our behalf.
Well, as long as we're trying something, because I've been here since 2020 and on council, and I hear the same problems over and over and over. And it just seems, I know we hire people and then other people retire. I know that's a major problem,
Right.
but we have to think differently or something to resolve this problem we have.
Right.
So
I agree. And we're not the only ones dealing with this. It's across the nation. So if somebody has an idea and the magic solution, then I'll take it. Absolutely.
it was just an idea that I was thinking about. So it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but.
And if you didn't know, I'll just throw out there also, we also have a sergeant that left about 3 months ago. He's
Yeah.
coming back. He'll be back at the end of the month. So
Oh, good, good.
he's returning to us. So that's going to definitely help us out
Good.
in our patrol. So my goal is we will be on this hybrid shift.
So
in-
the sergeant coming back doesn't have to go through any type of training because he's already experienced being a police officer here.
He's only been gone 2.5 months. So he just has to do the basic drug test and some basic items, but really quick. He'll be back by the end of the month.
Oh, okay,
And that's Sergeant Cunningham.
perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm excited. And there's a lot of positive things that'll happen with that. And I've talked to the city manager about. Any other questions? Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to the Safe and Clean Streets Initiative. First, the safe items. We touched on number 2 here. And just to, comment about the incentive program, I mentioned we had 1 officer. We're open to thinking through that, and we've had a couple conversations about how we might adjust it. But know that we're going to be talking to potential candidates, trying to receive some feedback on how the program's structured in case modifying it somehow will yield additional interest in potential laterals. Um, the flock cameras are also planning to come back to you at the next meeting on January 30th. So that's an item number 4 here. Know that that's coming very soon. And with respect to number 10, when we had a meeting to talk about the related to the pilot prosecution program, and met with the DA's office. We do think there's a piece of legislation that could be helpful to the city and other cities that may be more of a bipartisan type of approach that should be acceptable to all. But the concept is if a public agency had a work release type of program where we could put people to work cleaning up things, picking up trash, etc. The idea is to require a judge to first check in with the local agency where the incident occurred. If there's a program in place and the city, for example, was interested in using a person to come back and help us clean things up, the judge would be compelled to work with us. Today, the discretion is entirely the judge's. District attorneys used to have more influence in the past. And so we're going to be working on drafting a conceptual piece of legislation and working with our elected officials at the state, both in the state Senate and state assembly, to consider adding this bill to the calendar of bills. So this is the time of year when that occurs over the next month and a half or so. And so as that matures, we'll provide updates on that front. I'll pause there if there are any questions on the SAFE initiatives. Okay, moving on to the clean initiatives. Item 2, the trash enclosure pilot program. We're going to launch that tomorrow. This is the formal application period will begin. It will be open for 30 days. We're going to be knocking on doors and pleading with some of the potential businesses that would be eligible to participate under this program. We're going to share with them the direction you provided to bring back an ordinance at a later date that's going to provide basically a 2 to 2.5 year timeline for compliance on this front. And this is the time where the city is putting some grant money available. So we wanted to wait until the beginning of the new year where we had everyone's attention and not run this over the holidays. That's the intent, but we'll be issuing a press release tomorrow. A website's been built. It's all ready to go, and that deploys tomorrow. And we'll be working with the mayor and the mayor pro tem to review the initial submittals that are received and to make sure that those are prioritized. And then the program will remain open after that. So the first 30 days is just to prioritize in case we had a large influx of potential candidates. Item number 3 is the anticipated cleanup, and conceptually we're penciling in April 13th. I want to say conceptual at this point. I don't want to fully commit yet, but that's the weekend before the pageant opens. We have a lot of work to do in prepping this, and so we'll see after a couple of more meetings whether we feel that we can meet this date or need to push it out a little bit farther. But that's something that's going to be in the works here soon. And once we bring you the hotel investment program, then we'll be working on the facade improvement program. So we're trying to sequence some of these also from a staff capacity perspective. But the facade improvement program will follow the work that will come to you at the next council meeting. And with that, let me pause and ask if you have any questions on this section.
Where will people be able to find the information for the trash enclosure program?
We will put that on the website. It'll be distributed via social media as well as through the press release that I mentioned. We're
like the hemetca.gov website?
Right, hemetca.gov. And then we're going to proactively go out and reach out to businesses that we believe would benefit from the program and encourage those property owners to participate in the program. And if you have any recommendations or have contacts with some of those property owners, we would love to see them participate in the program. So that's the goal here. And I know we can make a difference when we see these move forward.
I have a question on number 8. The city attorney's office will now have a staff member present at Covell the first and third Wednesdays each week to assist with code-related issues. What exactly is going to take place at those? How does that work?
So that's actually already occurring. And essentially, in the same way that I do office hours at City Hall, it allows for sort of that spontaneous interaction with staff where they have questions. The same thing has been occurring between our deputy city attorney who advises code enforcement and code enforcement staff. So resulting in the review of code enforcement files, assisting on the drafting and issuance of inspection and abatement warrants, and general things like that. I actually had a meeting today with our new chief building official, talked about that process, and as he gets his feet wet, we may look at modifying that to suit their schedule a little bit better. But thus far, it seems that it's been a positive experience having access, easy access on a regular basis to legal counsel.
If I could comment on number 7, the Create Art in Public Places program. I'm on a small committee that's working with Hemet Unified, their director of visual and performing arts, which is a new position that they have recently established at Hemet Unified to really put an emphasis on art of all kinds, music, performing arts, visual arts. And part of the discussion we are having, and Jade is in on those meetings, contributes wonderfully well, is to create a program where the high school kids in the art departments are involved in not only showing their art, and currently they are showing their art with the Hemet Art Association and at the Art Association on North Harvard Street. But also to expand that, we had some brief conversations last week about the program that various cities have of decorated animals in public places. Vancouver, Canada has bears of all sizes and shapes and psychedelic colors and whatever, and Idlewild has their deer. There's various cities that have various types of animals, and we're just coming up with things like that high school kids would love to create. And just looking into the cost of that, if maybe, one of their departments at the school could create some type of an animal. We came up with horses, we came up with woolly mammoths, and the mastodons came up with squirrels. And I'm going, where are the squirrels? Okay. But all, types of things like that Hemet Unified is buying in big with student program on this. And that is really, really exciting.
Those are exciting ideas, and I've seen that deployed in other communities, and that can be a lot of fun too. And arts in public places is a very robust idea. It's going to be quite complex. This is something that won't be able to be done in a couple of weeks. It's going to take months to really refine and develop the program and kind of the boundaries of where we're going. Often there's a funding component that needs to be addressed, and how is the key question. But it's also something that aligns well with the economic development strategy that we've talked about earlier, because this is another initiative that really will roll under that umbrella of economic development, because art in public places is really also an economic development opportunity. So there's a lot to it. And frankly, from a sequencing standpoint, we've done a lot of research on this, and we've had a lot of preliminary conversations, but I see it following the facade improvement program. So hotel investment, facade improvement, and then arts in public places. So I think near the end of the fiscal year, we'll be having the conversations about the elements, and it's probably going to need to bleed into the next fiscal year before it fully deploys.
And interestingly enough, one of the comments that I made at the last meeting that we had at the school district was how many people actually see the public art that is in the middle of the street in front of Winco. I have run into so many people who say, what are you talking about? There is nothing there. I said, well, next time you drive on West Florida, you look at the median when you're passing Winco and you tell me what you see. And they call back and they went, my God, it's a man with a child on his shoulders waving. And it's like, yep. And it's been there for years. People just they don't even see it anymore or never see it at all.
All right, that concludes our report.
It was me and him.
Okay, so thank you for your presentation. And can I get a motion in a second, please?
I think this is just a receive and file.
Huh?
This is just a receive and file.
Oh, just a receive and file, okay. Well, then in that case, let's move on to city council and staff reports. Starting with-
Okay. Library, tomorrow is family story time at 3:00. And Thursday is the trustees meeting at 1 p.m. right here in these chambers. League of Cities was yesterday. Last night, actually, we had a meeting, general meeting in Norco and had a tour beforehand, and I'll let Jackie talk about that. Moving on to RCTC, our commission meeting is tomorrow. And then at the end of the month, we're having the annual retreat, 2-day retreat out in the desert. But a major topic is going to be the updated traffic relief plan. And in conversation with Anne recently, she said that she and staff are going out on invitation to show the updated traffic relief plan to councils and to community groups. And I think this is something that is extremely important. I mean, I can share with Malcolm, but I can't share with other people. And I think it's just really important that this entire council and staff sees the updated traffic relief plan and consequences and possible tax initiative that is connected to it, and was wondering if this council would be open to inviting RCTC out at one of the next meetings to get an update presentation. It would probably take less than 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I'd be interested.
Okay, so we can direct staff, Mark, if you can get in touch with Anne and set a time to come for staff or for council meeting, and then we can explore things later and ask the questions that we all want to ask about traffic relief in Western Riverside, all of Riverside County. So thank you for that. RCA, I attended yesterday's meeting as the alternate for Carol, and it was really good. The board passed an allocation of up to, I don't remember the amount. I think it was up to like $800,000 for a 2-year strategic improvement assessment and action plan. And what this is going to involve is not reopening the MSHCP, but looking at the Hans process that is connected to it, because right now it's not working. It is not working at all. 20 years ago, when this agency was formed to protect habitat and to promote development at the same time, there were certain safeguards and guidelines that were put in it that were pertinent at that particular time that are no longer. It's not an option anymore. RCA has purchased, well, RCA has purchased the most amount of land to put into conservation, and it's supposed to be a three-prong. RCA, the state, and the feds buying equal amounts of property to create this conservation district. The state and feds have basically done diddly, and RCA has done a really, really good job. Right now, they're at the point where land is so expensive to buy. The rules and guidelines on the Hans process are so restrictive that there aren't any options, and forcing RCA basically to go bankrupt. And it's just, right now, it's a double-edged sword. So while there was a lot of conversation and consternation, and I was one of them, about how you do this, I think this plan of hiring professionals to look at the entire Hans process, not reopen, the HCP, that stands. It has to have those guidelines of protecting the 146 species that it's supposed to protect. But to look at how that process is working or not working and come up with some logical conclusions involving the cities, the county, stakeholders, property owners, developers, all of these stakeholders that have basically been involved in this for the last 20 years and have now, push comes to shove, at a stalemate. So it was unanimously passed, which was really interesting for this group, and probably come back with a major amendment and have a whole lot of discussion, but it's going to have to go over about a 2-year period of time to gather all of the statistics and options together to basically preserve the RCA and yet find a way to go forward with the limited resources that are available, money from the feds, money from the state, cooperation from Fish and Wildlife, Fish and Game. It's going to be a big study, but I think it's something that has to be done. So thank you, Carol, for not being there, because it was really a good meeting that I attended, and I renewed a lot of old acquaintances of people that sit on that board. But it really is something that, and they will be bringing, one of the key issues on it was that reports and updates will be brought back to the RCA board on a regular basis, and a subcommittee may or may not be established, but definitely reports needed to come back and stakeholders needed to be involved. So it's going to be a big deal to follow. So good stuff. And then the other thing, which Malcolm may touch on this too, at SCAG Transportation last week, we had an update on zero emission programs in the state, 2035 and 2050, and businesses going to zero emission in their fleets. I think the most interesting aspect and statement that came out of there was a question towards the end for the presenter that said, according to your diagrams, business, corporations, industry are way behind the schedule in getting to zero emission transportation and vehicles and whatever going forward. So what did they tell you of their expectations to reach that goal, or how they were going to do it? And the comment was, most of them said they would just move out of the state. And I thought that was very appropriate. I mean, we all know it's going to happen. It's happening now. But it really some scary statistics that are coming from the reports, especially in the transportation category from our SCAG meetings. And they're not, thank goodness they're not mincing words in telling us that the state's guidelines and mandates and dates have no connection to reality. But we're pushing forward anyway, which is kind of a statement of insanity. That's my opinion. And the other thing that happened at that meeting, actually it was in the regional council meeting right after the transportation meeting, was that there's an option for virtual. And I've been opting to stay at City Hall in the Sister City room, and Malcolm and Linda Molina and I attend the meetings from there. But at the regional council meeting, there was a presentation that was being given, and all of a sudden the screen went black, loud noises every place, people hollering and screaming and doing things being tipped over. I mean, it was just horrible. We all looked and went, what the heck is going on here? And it turned out that there was a hacker on the virtual site, and nothing physically happened to anybody in the Los Angeles office or any of the other sub offices, and nobody breached security at any of them. But it was done virtually, and it was just horrible. And as they said, this is one of the dangers of staying with the virtual coverages of all of these things. And, and they've got every safeguard in the world. So I wonder about and what we do here. And I know a lot of entities have stopped the Zoom aspect and virtual aspect because of being hacked and really nasty things being said that there's no control over. So I just wanted to throw that in as this is real life that we're dealing with. And that's it.
Yeah. Malcolm Lilienthal.
The only thing I would have to add is they're talking about, in the transportation on SCAG, they're talking about raising revenue sufficient to fill the gas tax gap, because as we move towards electric vehicles, we're seeing a discrepancy between the amount of money they're able to generate from the gas tax because people have the electric vehicles. And then there were also, weren't they talking about, so with the trucks, with the semis, they were even on the graph, some of the companies were saying that we aren't even, so it was like we're prepared, we're kind of prepared, and then we're not prepared. And then so there is I think those are the ones that were talking about they would have to move out of state because the way their infrastructure is, they wouldn't be able to cover the cost without passing it on to us or whoever that they pass it on to. And so they're having these real conversations about how are we going to tax people who are driving electric vehicles. And so that's where the whole concept of the vehicle miles traveled you hear about coming up. And so and then they even had this, I think Councilmember Krupa participated. It was a pilot study, right? In 2016?
Yes, in 2016, I participated in the pilot program in California, and they actually sent me a little computer device that I attached to inside my car, and that thing tracked me everywhere. Told me that I would save money with an electric vehicle over the gas charges and all of that good stuff. But the information that was collected was, they could basically tell where I went every month and the number of miles I traveled on what highway, what streets, what private roads. And I'm thinking, private roads, where have I gone on a private road? Well, it's up to the Ramona Bowl. That's the only one I could figure out. But it was really intrusive when you stop to think about it. And that is one of the things that they say. There's a study starting in Washington, D.C. Actually, it was a guy from D.C. that was out. Buttigieg has selected 7 people or 15 people, something like that, from across the United States to give input on what should be collected and how it should be collected. And it's like you've got 50 states plus territories, and you've got 7 to 15 people across the United States that are going to make these decisions. So there was a lot of weigh-in, no buy-in, just a lot of weigh-in from people at that meeting. It was really incredible.
So just look out for that. They were so if you like, how are they going to use this information when you're driving? And, because it's like, even like Google, when you look at Google Maps, Google will tell you where you've been at throughout the day. And it'll even ask you, hey, you should fill in or tell us where you were at if you want to. And so if this comes through, which it seems like it's already on its way, now how are we going to pay for it? And then the other thing that was brought up was, what if you don't drive that far, or what if you drive 2 hours? Or is the rate going to be same for the people who drive 2 hours or who never leave the city, or for people who do those long drives? And are you going to be penalized if, like, let's say you want to go see your family in Arizona or in another state? Will you be penalized if you know what I mean? Like, some of these questions were brought up, and I didn't think that guy was answering any of the questions that people were talking about. And it was kind of concerning for me, because I'm like, so we're trying to use the gas tax to cover roadways and things like that. But as we go into this electric vehicle stage, how are we going to get money to fund those things? And they're really scrambling right now to figure that out. And so that's where the gap is coming in. And so it just kind of looks like it's not, like right now, it just doesn't look feasible. But somehow, like, we keep forcing these things, and it looks like it'll happen. But what does that mean for, if you still drive a gas car? We're still seeing gas stations being put up. It doesn't make any sense.
Move on.
Nope.
Council Member Kendrick,
I have nothing to report this time. Thank you.
no baby.
Yep. No, I've just been enjoying my brand new grandson. So I thank you, Councilmember Krupa, for going to RCA in my stead. I'm glad it was good for you, but I'm sure I'll have more to report on at the next meeting.
Okay. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Peterson.
Okay, December 14th, I went to the Riverside County Habitat Conservation Agency meeting in Riverside. And it was a very interesting presentation by Dr. Wayne Spencer. He's with Conservation Biology Institute. And he presented a range-wide management and monitoring plan and results from a 2022-23 monitoring season for the kangaroo rat. And he's an expert on it. And the results show that except for one reserve, the rat occupancy remained stable. And that was good because we had 2 rainy seasons last year, and it really affected the rats in some areas, and in others, the numbers were the same. But there was only one little one little area that was different, so that was good. During October and November, they hosted over 330 fifth graders from Hemet, Lake Elsinore, and Moreno Valley Unified School Districts for the annual Celebrating Endangered Species Day event. And I think I already said this at a previous meeting, but I went to one of those and it was really delightful. There was all these fifth graders that came by bus, and there was this group from Wild Wonders in Bonsall. I had never heard of this group before, and it's like a animal refuge. And they had all kinds of animals that they brought for the kids to learn about and touch. And the gal that did the presentation in the tent that I was at, she was wonderful. And she was just such a pro at what she was doing. It was really good. And then as a follow-up to that, on their way out of that, they get art paper and colored pencils. And then the kids will draw what they saw, and there's a contest, and the entries will be judged in 4 categories, and they'll be presented in school this spring. And it's a really good program, and everybody just had a really good time. And at the end of that meeting, we had a surprise. And Kathy, Miss Librarian, she's perking up back there. Rihanna Fisher, who is one of the program managers there, she published this book. It's called Kippy the Kangaroo Rat. And it's just a delightful little book with beautiful illustrations in it. And it's really simple reading, and it tells a story and a lesson, because at first Kippy wasn't very friendly and he was selfish with all his things, and he didn't want to help any of the other animals. And at the end, he was a changed rat and he learned his lesson. And then he befriended all the animals. And I mean, it's just a cute little book. So it would be great, especially since that's in our region. So Kippy the kangaroo rat, check it out. So yeah, Kippy. Yeah, that was cute. So Steven, yeah, this is, yeah. So, I thought, Linda would, expand on this more, but yes, we did do business last night, but Norco just had a great, evening for us. They have the Disneyland training and boarding facility there. It's on 5.5 acres and it's the Disneyland Ranch. And they invited us to come up in 2 different groups. They had a tour at 3 o'clock and one at 4 o'clock. So we got to go through and we had a great guide. We got to see their little buggies that they use in different parades and down the street in Disneyland. And we saw their harnesses and everything. And we learned about what they ate and just some of the history of the horses and that. And we've got great pictures from that. It was just so much fun, but they were such great hosts. And then, of course, we had our business meeting at 5:30. So that was a lot of fun. We enjoyed that. So that was last night that we did that. The WRCOG meeting did not meet on January 1st. It's usually the first Monday. That was the holiday. So we are going to have a special meeting this Friday for WRCOG instead. So I'll be going to that. So, and the last thing is this Saturday is the Ramona Bowl President's Gala at the library, and the public is invited. Anybody can come. And it's going to have a great program. It's the 100th anniversary of the Troubadour band. So last year it was 100 year for the pageant. This year it's 100 years for the Troubadour. So we're going to talk that up and get more publicity, and hopefully we can grow our viewership because a lot of people last year, even local people, not that far from here, they didn't even know about the Ramona pageant. So being at the 100th year, it got more publicity, and we want to do it again this year. So anybody's invited to the dinner, and it's $55 per person, and it includes an entertainment and a great dinner. And so you can purchase your tickets through Ramona website. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Councilmember Peterson. Okay, I don't have much. I just want to let everyone know that our 4th Wednesday, we will not have a council meeting. We'll be out for training for council and mayor training out in Monterey, California, I believe. And so our next meeting will be on the 30th. And for ad hoc committee reports, council protocols, ad hoc committee, that would be Peterson and Krupa.
Prestwich needs to get some work done.
I'm sorry?
Prestwich needs to get some work done.
Okay, cleaning up an ad hoc committee, Lilienthal Males. I don't think we've done anything with that lately. I think we have, don't we have the, what are they called? The police,
Volunteers?
no, what do you call that unit that cleans up? Rocks, yeah. So I think they've been doing a pretty good job. Plus, the one volunteer group or the one group that we hired to clean up. How about the homeless outreach ad hoc committee, Lilienthal and Males?
Taken off of that, and so we haven't done anything with that. We've just been waiting for the liaison that we've created.
Right, and we did hire someone for that position. Do we know who that is?
We don't have a position. We don't have an offer out for that position yet. We have a recruitment underway,
Okay.
and we're working with Robin in the meantime.
We have Robin now, Gilliland, and she's working.
Right.
Okay, as a consultant, right?
Right, and the
Okay.
new commission has a meeting in the next week, I believe. I'm sorry, the new ad hoc has a meeting planned before January 17th.
Okay, perfect. Caltrans liaison ad hoc committee, Peterson Krupa.
Noah and I were online this last meeting, and they weren't there. So it was during the holiday season, right before Christmas. But they never let us know the meeting was canceled. So we were present, but they were not. So
Okay.
we have nothing new on.
Shame, 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 Noah. Okay. That was what, Caltrans? Okay, CDBG Ad Hoc Committee, Peterson Kendrick. Okay, okay. Banner program. We still need the banner program?
No, we really don't. Just need to make sure that staff sends out notifications on social media and whatever else, like every 6 months, that the banner program is there and available to families who have active duty
Yeah.
people. Other than that, there really isn't anything. It just needs to keep getting out that that program is available, and it's now free of charge and not the $110, $120 charge when we first started. And it's such a good program. It's fun to drive down at least Florida Avenue and see all of those faces of active duty up there.
So it is free of charge then.
It is,
Okay, thank you.
we have an agreement with the school district.
And then
that
the
they would
Veteran
correct.
Memorial Ad Hoc Committee, I don't know if we need that anymore. We just need to make sure that a memorial.
We will need it because we're gonna have to make some changes to the policy.
Okay.
So that, we'll discuss that at another meeting, so.
Here, before you move on, I would like to make a motion to add something to the agenda. That we do some research on getting a lobbyist.
A lobbyist?
Someone that can fight for us at DC, someone that could fight for us at Sacramento, for state dollars, federal dollars, stuff like that.
I think looking into that would be an excellent idea. The times we've had lobbyists, we have benefited more than what we paid.
Plus, they can give us heads up so we're not at the last minute scrambling to create some kind of shovel-ready project. They can give us heads up on stuff that's coming down the
What does a
pipeline.
lobbyist cost?
It
So
varies.
5,000 a month.
Oh, you said that like we have 5,000 a month to give away.
No, that's what I'm
Year-
saying.
yeah,
Add it to the
yearly
agenda for the
contracts, yeah.
future, for like the next, next year.
Mhm.
Just having those kind of, is that something we want to look into? Because that could, alongside the grants, you could like somebody, because we could even go along with them to DC or even Washington, sorry, or Sacramento, and advocate for, even like when they do laws that take some of the tools from our police department. Like we could go up there with a lobbyist and, with other cities, and we can kind of do like a collaboration thing with this person speaking for us, like, hey, these things are affecting these cities and you guys are making decisions up here. And so I think if we have a lobbyist that's talking about Hemet and the Hemet area, we stay relevant versus where's Hemet or who's Hemet.
I'm happy to provide a future report to you as some, regarding some options.
Okay.
And a cost estimate and funding strategy, et cetera. And so I can put that on a to-do list. That's acceptable.
Sound good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
just want to make sure we getting as much,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, piece of the pie.
Cool. Let's move on to the city manager report.
No report tonight. Thank you.
I'm sorry? No report, okay. There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned to next city council meeting on January 30th, 2024. Thank you for joining us tonight.